Welcome to Monkey Love Travel. My name is Jason,
I am Becca, Mrs. Monkey Love.
and today we are going to talk about scams in 2025. Let's swing into it.
Monkey love, oh monkey love, travel. Packing bags, let's hit the gravel.
All right, so one of the first things you're probably going to want to before you even start booking your cruise vacation, and if you are talking to a travel agent, is verifying that they are actually a travel agent. Um, I mean, that affects us as well as you guys. Your money is hard earned. We certainly don't want you losing any of your money. So one of the things that we suggest is set up a Zoom with that person who is saying they are a travel agent and verify. Interview them. Ask them tough questions. What are they going to do for you? They should be interviewing you as well. Ask them about payment processes, and if they're telling you that they can only do Cash App, hang up. Find another
Immediately.
travel agent. You know, they should be using proper credit card authorizations in a secure format. So please do your due diligence and interview them. Take your time. Again, ask them what they're going to do for you. Have them walk you through their process.
And I was going to say, I think for me personally, it's a surety that you're not just feeding your information into an AI or something else, that you are actually talking face to face with another person. You can ask them whatever you need to. You can gauge, I like to gauge body language and all kinds of other stuff. And it gives you that opportunity to do that. Why not? And if somebody says they can't do it or won't do it, or you're getting a very stock answer, and AI is wonderful. I'm sure. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with AI, but you may not be getting the personal touch and the dedication of seeing your vacation through that you would with a travel agent that really wants to do that for you. But
So,
definitely no Cash App travel agents,
yeah, no
because that's
Cash
like
App.
a red flag for a scam, right?
In my book, it is, yeah. So what's next?
The free cruise scam, which I was embarrassed after we were talking about this to remember that I'm pretty sure I/we fell for this at one point. Um, although I don't know if it was for a cruise, but pretty sure it was. Anytime you get something, whether it's through the mail, a phone call, a postcard in the mail, for us, it was going to a Flyers game and somebody approaching us with a, hey, you want a chance to win a raffle for a free cruise? Well, of course, it's not costing you anything. I'll give you my name and phone number. And all of a sudden, as we're leaving the venue, I get a call that I was a winner and that I'm eligible for this free cruise and I need to set up an appointment with so and so. It was a voicemail. And I admit we were skeptical, but thought we had won something. And that one turned out to be, whether you want to call it a scam or a not the greatest marketing type of ploy for the company, it pretty much, we didn't follow it all the way through, but it turned into basically come listen to a presentation, so timeshare echoes, and then you might earn a free cruise. We didn't pursue past them because right away they wanted deposits, they wanted this to secure the chance to do it, they wanted, it was not particularly cheap to go where they were asking us to come to. There was just a lot of, by the time, even if you had gotten a free cruise above board, which never actually happens, it's all the hassle and the high pressured sales and all the things you have to do to avoid those pitfalls were a pain. And we already knew that. But what I'm finding out through research is you rarely ever get anything free out of it. And if you are getting something free out of it, chances are that you are paying a ton of other fees up front and ahead of time.
It could end up costing you even more than
Oh,
just
absolutely.
a
And
regular
and
cruise.
the free cruise that you get, if that ever comes to fruition, is probably going to be in the absolute, you're going to be in some bunk room that's down at the bottom of the ship by the kitchen or somewhere that no one else would ever book a room in. And you're getting nailed with all kinds of additional fees and so on and so forth, or things you have to pay up front before you even get there. And that's really only going to work if you're somebody who can literally go on a cruise at anybody's whim, anytime, because typically the availability and the hoops you have to jump through to be eligible are just, there's nothing free about your free cruise experience. And like I said, I know the big thing is people getting mailers in the mail. There's lots of things we can go over, whether at the end of this video or in a different video, about how these things look and what you can avoid, what you don't need to avoid necessarily. If you really think you're a scrutinizing person who can outwit the scammers or the timeshare folks, there's lots of other things if you want to try to pursue that we can give you as tips to do it in the safest way possible. But generally speaking, I'm going to say for most of us, I would not, anything free is probably not free. It's that old, if it's too good to be true, it's
Probably.
too
Probably
good to be
is.
true. And probably best to avoid it.
All right, so let's say you're moving on to another scam. Let's say your cruise is already booked. You've booked through either your travel agent or through Royal Caribbean directly. And you start all of a sudden getting phone calls or emails saying, in reference to your actual booking number, saying, "Hey, you still owe us, taxes and port fees," and you know that you've already paid those. So what a lot of people end up doing is they will Google Royal Caribbean's phone number and then call. And often that phone number you just Googled is the scam in itself. You're calling, they already have your information. Not sure how they got it. I mean, things get hacked, or some people accidentally post their booking information online, which don't ever do. Don't do that.
You're advertising to the whole world that you're out of town, even if it's not the scammers themselves. You're still letting way too many people. At least put your settings on private and only keep it to family or who you trust, because you really don't want to ever let anybody know when you're on vacation.
Right. I mean, if it's an email and it came through a link, don't click the link. That's most likely phishing. They're trying to get your personal information. If you've gotten a voicemail, don't call that number directly back unless you know that person. Do your due diligence, do your research. My suggestion, if you get something like that and you aren't sure what to do, go to royalcaribbean.com and get their number directly from their site. Don't just Google it, because all those numbers can be spoofed and things like that. Go to royalcaribbean.com, get the actual customer service number, and call them directly. Or if you're booked through a travel agent, make sure you reach out to your travel agent, and they can tell you, no, they should not be reaching out to you at all. All right?
And I was just going to say, kind of connecting the free cruise scams and that one together, if any of this should happen to you or you're suspect about anything, the Better Business Bureau is always a great place to start for finding out. First of all, it's where you want to make reports. They also have a scam tracker. If you just go to bbb.org, .com.org. I'll have to double check, but I think it's .org. You can talk about your experience and see if anybody else has had it. They also have a scam tracker that you can sign up for and that you can be part of to see if similar things are happening with other people. It's just kind of, and the FTC.gov and FCC.gov are also things that you should report these to if you suspect they've happened or if you know you've been scammed. They are definitely two government agencies, if you're okay with that you should definitely be letting know.
Yeah, you work hard for your money. Work hard to protect it too.
Yep.
Okay, so now let's say you've got your cruise booked. You're comfortable with everything. You've got things paid. You're already on your cruise. No, I'm sorry. Let's take that back a little bit more. You're still planning your cruise, but you've got everything paid for. Now you want to look at excursions and things of that nature. Maybe you decided this time we don't want to do any excursions through Royal Caribbean. My suggestion is, if you're doing third-party, websites for that, verify the websites. We've used Viator before, but again, do your homework with them. We've also used shoreexcursions.com to book excursions for your cruise destinations. Please review their policies and everything, and make sure you do your due diligence with them. But let's say you're already on your cruise. You end up at your port of call, and you don't really have a plan, and you're just going to say, hey, let's just go out, see what we can run into. Maybe we can get a good deal here and there. All right, so fake excursions. Someone is standing out at a temporary kiosk or in front of a storefront, and they're telling you, "Hey, we got a great deal. Real cheap. If I don't know, let's just say 50 bucks for I don't know two or three of you, whatever it is." And they say, "Hey, we'll take you. We'll give you a great tour of this facility, or or to a shop or something along those lines." And they do. They'll take you there, okay? But when they get you there to these shops and they run through run you through these tours, they end up nickel and diming you out of your hard-earned money, out of your cash that you brought with you if you brought cash, or if you're trying to use your credit card. One tip here: do not ever use your debit card at port destinations. That is so easy to get your information and drain your bank account. Make sure you have, if you're doing cash, that's fine, but make sure you're using a fully backed credit card for these type of things. We don't like to do that ourselves, but again, something to be wary of. Again, getting back to it, a friendly person is going to draw you in.
Charisma goes a long way.
Charisma. And then they get you to these destinations, and then the hard sell happens. And you just want this to end. Time's getting late, and you're not sure whether you're going to get back to your cruise or not. Just get it over with, and you're going to give them their money, and that's what they're banking on. Again, they're not taking advantage of you as far as kidnapping or anything like that, but they're going to get you back to your port. Are you going to make it in time, though? Has the ship left? These are things,
and they know those things.
They know those things. So they're counting on those things to con you out of spending money on frivolous items that you don't want or need.
So another one we want you to be aware of, and this is not so much of a scam as much as be aware of it, make sure you're sticking to the guidelines. Your passport is a passport. It's a government document. It cannot be altered by you in any way. You certainly don't want to willfully alter it because that actually subjects you to criminal prosecution. So I'm not really talking about that. Hopefully that's not what any of our watchers are planning to do. And if they are, this is not the channel for that. But I know I was a little bit disappointed. I think maybe you were a little bit too when we discovered that through cruising, we weren't going to get click passport stamps at every port because we thought that would be cool.
Especially cruising from U.S. destinations.
Yes. Yeah. And prior to cruising, we hadn't traveled abroad. It wasn't like we had a lot of that experience. I think Mexico was our one exciting stamp, and that was from a while ago. And then when we started cruising, I was very excited about all these stamps I was going to get in my passport and found out, nope, they don't do that anymore. Fine. Okay. But most destinations, period. A lot of them, and I actually have a list that we could put in the comments, but there's lots of cool stamps to collect at lots of locations, but you don't collect them in your actual passport. On page 5 of your passport, it very clearly goes over the fact that if you alter it in any way, it invalidates the passport. So something as silly as going into a particular port and you're not off the ship for long and they're selling souvenir stamps and you're disappointed you didn't get your passport stamp, so you buy the stamp and stick it in your passport, could really mess you up because it may have just invalidated that passport altogether. Can't use it anymore. It's like it's a fake document at that point over something as seemingly innocent as you applying what you thought was an appropriate stamp. Just no, never to use your passport for anything other than showing where you need to, and the only thing that should ever go into that passport in a stamp or anything else has to be done by a government official. So if they do something to it, that's different. Completely separate from wanting stamps or, whether it's a stamper or a stamp that you peel and apply in your passport, not in your real, actual passport. That being said, for those of us who are kind of, nostalgic like that, Amazon Anywhere sells tons of novelty souvenir passports that look similarish. And you can use those. You can even put the fancy cover on them and make them look pretty. I wouldn't suggest the same color. You don't want to mix them up with your actual passport at any point. But if you like collecting all of that stuff, there are basically passport sticker books where you can buy them, keep them, have them, buy the stickers at the ports you go to. If you're not as bent on it being your actual experience, you can actually buy stickers online from wherever you go. You can keep all that kind of stuff. I know Mr. Monkey Love is a little bit even more paranoid about stuff because his thing was, I wouldn't even want it to look like a passport. How about just in a journal? I'm a journaler. I don't want my passport stickers in a journal. I want them in something that looks like a passport.
Yeah, I don't want to be mistaken for trying to fraud in any way whatsoever.
Because again, I'm nostalgia, he's practicality. So it's that the bottom line is, whoever you are, wherever you are, never alter your own passport. There is a section on, I believe it's page 2 or 3, like the flip side of your picture, where it asks you in pencil to update like your emergency contact, your email, that kind of stuff. It's very specific to do it in pencil because you need to be able to update it at any time. It's not a permanent alteration, and it's only on one page that you're allowed to do that, and specific to what the government needs to know should you become lost or missing or something of that sort. Other than that, it's very clear in the passport and everything you will ever look at that you should never write in, alter, stamp, remove, add, laminate, do anything to your passport. Leave it as is. Put it in something pretty if you want. You can put stickers on your case if you want. Just never alter your actual passport. And make sure if anyone is selling or presenting these stickers as if they're official, wonderful. Let them be official in your your novelty passport or your sticker book or your journal or wherever you want to keep these things. Your suitcase maybe. Just never alter your actual passport. And know that should you, because you didn't know, you suddenly felt like watching our channel in the middle of a cruise and you just learned this information and it's way too late because you just filled up call somebody. There's a number on your passport to call. You can literally report it right away. You can tell them where you got these stickers and that you were unaware that you were altering it, and then it can be handled that way. If worst case scenario, just know never to alter your actual passport. But please enjoy collecting the novelty souvenir stickers. I know I found out just looking up stuff for this that there's all kinds of cool ones even from the U.S. that are neat places to go just to be able to collect the souvenir stamp.
Yeah. We like to collect stickers and put on our suitcase.
Yeah. Well, and I used to be a scrapbooker. I still am if I ever take all the material and put it into a scrapbook. But I'm all for collecting things and having, a record that you didn't write yourself, but that somebody else gave you. Just don't do it in your actual passport.
It's great to create memories. Just don't destroy your property in the process.
Right. Especially ones that are government property technically, because your passport is technically property of the government. It's not technically property of yours. So also be aware of that when it comes to identifying yourself. It's not considered your personal identity. It's a government issued identity. And just make sure that you never change it. Leave it as is. If you this is just my little bit of a tip. If you go into stores when you are at port, especially I feel like if they're somewhat close and they're definitely geared towards tourists, and you don't see any prices anywhere. There's nothing on shelves that give you a price. The items don't seem to have prices on them, or there's no sign saying individual prices are listed at the bottom of the item, whatever. Or please contact sales clerk for individual prices. If you just don't know a price, and especially when you're a store full of breakable items. Personally, now that we've learned some things, I just turn and go elsewhere. But there might be things in there that you really want. You would really like to know and possibly buy. Just be very cautious, especially if you have small children who you can lecture but won't be as cautious as you're going to be. It's not just about not touching them. Be very careful that none of them get broken. You don't knock anything over. You don't pick something up looking for a price, possibly drop it, which I think they do on purpose sometimes. And there are actually scams in some ports of call where sales associates are planted to knock into yourself or your child, knock something over, pretend that they knocked into somebody and they're actually knocking something over and breaking it. And then they demand that you pay for the broken item because that is probably in a big sign in their store somewhere. But yet you have no idea what the price of the item is because it's not posted. It's not on the item. It's now shattered. And that $2 item that you could have gotten for $1 in most other places, they are now going to tell you is a $40 item or something absurd.
Or ridiculously $300.
Yeah, or it could be crazy like that. But if they can get 10 people, it's it's a low level scam, but it happens a lot because it happens so quickly and easily. A lot of people don't even think about it. They're like, "Oh crap, it got broken. That's my fault." You know. Wow, I feel so bad. I know I would be humiliated. I would probably be cleaning it up and trying to pay for everybody's item in the store or something ridiculous because I would feel badly about it. Did not even realize until recently that often that is done intentionally. And again, I come back to lots of breakable items, no prices listed. If you break it, you buy it. I would probably choose to shop elsewhere first. And if I can't find the item I saw, maybe I'll go back. But I would avoid those stores personally.
So this is not necessarily a scam, but we want to make you aware of the high pressure sales job when you go into a port of call and you're visiting a jewelry store or something. A lot of them will promise you a free item for coming in to visit us, and that's true. They will give you a free item, but be very, very aware that they are going to do a high pressure sales job once they get you in there to try to buy something else. They'll do the same thing with any spa essentials and things like that. They'll say, here's a free $200 bottle of whatever, lotion or hair gel if you've got hair.
Pendants for your neck, your bracelets, and your necklace. We saw a lot of that in the Caribbean.
Which they will give you. Don't buy any. That's not the issue. They will give it to you. But when they get you into the shop, it's going to be nothing but high pressure to get you to spend money on a lot of other stuff. So just be aware of that when you're looking into those things. But again, there's plenty of places where the jewelry and this stuff is discounted significantly. Mm-hmm. Just be a smart shopper, a wary shopper. Yeah. If again, we'll go back to what you said earlier. If it seems too good to be true, it most likely is. Just do your homework
and know yourself. I've learned that about myself, certainly. The very first time we were in the Bahamas and couldn't wait to go to the straw market and try to bargain things down, and figured I'd let you do it because you're my bargainer. And after we had passed 3 stands of people like hawking us in, and it was hot and they were close together, and I could see that they had all this stuff, and
there wasn't many people in there that day, so they were following us through there's
outside of the straw market, yes. But once we got in, it was nice because nobody followed us, but you could only walk 10 feet before the next person for the same items. We were looking for one specific thing, and thankfully kind of found somebody pretty quickly on who offered like something that we loved, and you actually gave her more than what she asked for, which stunned her. I mean, I've never seen anybody that speechless.
I gave her what she asked for. I thought it was
she reduced the price, and then you gave her the original price because that's what she had originally asked for.
Well, she said to me, she goes $40, and then she is, I guess, assumed that we were going to haggle, and she's like, $30 before we even said anything. And I was being honest. I was okay with the $40 because I thought it was worth it. Yep. And she's like, wait, what? Oh my God.
Oh gosh. Like jaw on the floor, and was so grateful. And I was like, wow. But the only other thing, we were looking for 2 other small items. Honestly, I could have spent hours in there because there were so many things I saw that I liked. So many things that just by the signs themselves would have been a great deal. I couldn't deal with it. I mean, I was almost in tears. It was like, I have to leave because everybody's asking and I can't keep turning people down. If you're not that kind of person and you have no problem just browsing and telling people to go away, probably your jam for sure. If you're not that person, I would avoid it or try it and then get out because... And
to clarify, when we were in the straw market, there was nobody who was rude to us or whatsoever, and it wasn't scammed at all.
No. So it's sales.
It's just sales, and they're trying to earn money. Mm-hmm. it's just something to keep in the back of your mind that
But there are scams that go in with that.
they are.
And
Yeah.
one of them I know you share with me was people, you touch something, you buy. You had warned me about that way
People
back,
coming up and
like
handing you
decades
stuff.
ago. When
You're right.
first time we went to Mexico, you were like, "Don't touch anything," because if you touch it, it's read as culturally that you're interested in buying it, and then if you put it back, they may say because you touched it, you
Have to buy it. Yeah.
So I didn't know that. I'm glad he said that because I touch everything, look at everything, examine everything. But we did not experience this personally, but there are apparently scammers out there that once you've gone through that and you try to put it back or you say you don't want it, they will threaten to call law enforcement. Now, a scammer, if you call their bluff or if you have something prepared ahead of time that you've agreed to this, whatever, is going to call your bluff. You call their bluff and they're going to stop. Different than they've got fake law enforcement prepared or there's something more complicit at hand. Those are bigger issues, but we're just talking about scammers who might threaten to call law enforcement. And they probably won't. Most likely. A scammer most likely is not going to follow through with something like that, especially as long as you're leaving the item, because otherwise it's theft. So, again, common sense prevails all the time. The common sense is don't touch anything unless you are pretty sure you're going to buy it and you want to examine it. Know that once you've touched it, you're probably going to have to pay for it. So I would suggest you know hard and fast what it costs before you pick it up and examine it. And if they threaten to call law enforcement, I would call their bluff, honestly, or leave. If anyone is interested in having a bit of a cheat sheet or more information or links to news articles or the government sites that we've mentioned as far as reporting scams or avoiding scams or tips to if you're going to try to follow through on some of these free cruise deals because you think you're pretty savvy or maybe you're a salesman and you're pretty good at outwitting the other salespeople, we have some tips and tricks just to do that in the best way possible. There's lots of other things we could offer. If you think that would be helpful, please let us know in the comments and we will make sure to post it or send it to you.
All right. Well, that's all we've got for you. We hope we've been informative for you. This isn't to deter you from cruising at all.
No.
We just want to make sure that you're protecting your money. Yep. You're protecting your investment to your vacation. So if you've got any comments for us, leave them in the comment section below. Please like and share this video. And until next time, swing into adventure.
Monkey love, oh monkey love, travel. Pack your bags, let's hit the gravel.